Part 1, The Demand. The video arrived at 6:03 a.m. on a Tuesday. Prime Minister Jonathan Reeves was still groggy, rubbing the sleep from his eyes, when his security advisor stormed into the bedroom, face white as polished bone. "You need to see this." The urgency in his voice sent a cold spike of adrenaline through Reeves' veins. He sat up, barely aware of his wife stirring beside him. The advisor handed him a tablet, fingers trembling as if he had been holding something radioactive. Reeves clicked play. The screen went black for 2 seconds. Then, the image appeared. It was Diane Loughton, the UK's most beloved actress. The woman the country adored, the star of countless films, humanitarian activist, the public's golden girl. But in this grainy, dimly lit footage, she wasn't the picture-perfect celebrity. She was bound to a chair, her face streaked with tears, a gag shoved between her lips. Her eyes, God, her eyes, were wild with terror. A voice, deeply distorted, spoke over the footage. At 9 p.m. tonight, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom will commit an act of national humiliation, broadcast live on every screen in the country. If he refuses, Diane Loughton dies. If the broadcast is disrupted, she dies. If anyone interferes, she dies. The public will be watching. And they will decide if their leader is truly one of them. The screen cut to black. Reeves stared. His breath was stuck in his throat, as if he'd inhaled a block of ice. The room was deathly silent. Finally, he tore his gaze away from the tablet, looking at his advisor. "What kind of act?" he asked, voice barely above a whisper. The advisor swallowed. "They haven't said yet." Part 2, The World Watches. By 7 a.m., the video had spread like wildfire. It started in dark corners of the internet. An unlisted link, shared on Twitter, Telegram, Reddit, Discord. By 8:30 a.m., it was on every news station in the country. By 9 a.m., every journalist in London was camped outside Downing Street, shoving microphones toward aides and demanding answers. And by midday, the world was obsessed. Some people thought it was a hoax. Others called it performance art. But most were waiting. Waiting to see if the Prime Minister would do it. Waiting to see if Diane Loughton would die. At 3 p.m., the second message arrived. A simple email, sent to every major news outlet. 9 p.m. 1 hour broadcast. Unedited. Unfiltered. The Prime Minister will read the script provided. Every person in the country will be watching. If not, Diane Loughton dies. This is not a choice. This is a test. Attached was a PDF file. The script. Reeves stared at it on his laptop. His stomach felt like it had turned inside out. His fingers trembled as he scrolled. Each line of text made his pulse pound harder. It wasn't just humiliation. It was beyond anything he could imagine. If he did it, he would never be respected again. If he refused, Diane Loughton would die. The countdown was ticking. And the public was watching. Part 3, The Polls. By 5 p.m., the internet had become a hunting ground. Polls popped up on every platform. Should Reeves do it? Red circle yes, 52%. Blue circle no, 48%. 52% wanted him to obey. 52% of the population wanted to see it happen. 52% wanted the horror to unfold. Social media exploded with memes, satire, debates. Small Blue Diamond, it's one life versus humiliation. He should do it. Small Blue Diamond, if he gives in, what's stopping them from doing this again? Small Blue Diamond, I don't care, I just want to see what happens. News networks ran hourly analysis. Psychologists debated the morality of public shaming. Pubs started hosting viewing parties. It was no longer a political crisis. It was entertainment. By 6:45 p.m., Reeves was a wreck. His advisors, his closest allies, were split. "Sir, you cannot go through with this," one of them pleaded. "They'll never respect you again." "If you refuse," another said grimly, "Diane Lawton dies on live television. Can you live with that?" Reeves buried his face in his hands. There was no way out. Then his phone buzzed. A new video. Diane Lawton was crying, shaking, blindfolded. A gun barrel pressed against her temple. A voice whispered. 9 p.m., Prime Minister. The people have spoken. Part 4, the broadcast. By 8:55 p.m., every TV station, streaming service, and phone in the country was tuned to the same broadcast. The countdown began. Red circle 005. Red circle 004. Red circle 003. Red circle 002. Red circle 001. Live. The camera focused on Prime Minister Reeves. He sat in a sterile, white-lit studio, face pale, eyes dead. A microphone in front of him. The script sat on the desk. The world held its breath. And Jonathan Reeves read every word. For 1 hour, the UK watched their leader crumble. Some people laughed. Some people cried. Some people felt sick. But they all watched. No one changed the channel. No one looked away. And when it ended, the screen cut to black. A message appeared. "You did well, Prime Minister. You passed the test." At 9:01 p.m., Diane Lawton was released unharmed. Part 5, the aftermath. The next morning, Reeves' face was everywhere. The headlines were brutal. The Prime Minister who sold his dignity. Reeves, hero or coward? The most watched broadcast in history. Memes flooded the internet. Late-night hosts mocked him. The same people who demanded he do it were now ripping him apart. His life was over. And the world had moved on. The real horror? The kidnappers were never found. Police traced the signals to an untraceable dark web entity. No fingerprints. No ransom demands. It wasn't about power. It wasn't about terrorism. It was about entertainment. Just a test to see if the world would watch. And they did. They always do.